Okay, now we're going to look at archiving the object. Make sure you delete everything out of your scene that you're not using. Make sure you go edit, delete by type history to get rid of that stuff. Make sure that you're in Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. You can clean up any textures that you're not using. In this case, I had the 4096 I'm pretty happy with. The client can drop that down if they want to. So here's color map 3, so we don't need that one anymore, and we don't need color map 1 anymore. Okay, and right click here and rename this one to create color map. I'm not using the textures anymore. I don't want to give that to any kind of client. I have a lot of materials in here, so 2 and 3 can get rid of those. Rename this to crate material. Get rid of this. Okay. So that's how you clean up your scene. You name your objects, you name your materials, you name your textures. Now you clean up your project folder. So in this case, I'm using crate 2. So all the other ones can go away. I don't want it to be called crate 2, so I want to rename that to crate color map. That means I have to repair the connection here back in Maya. Anytime you name a file on your hard drive, you'll see what happens. So again, just update it by going like that and update it just like that. Okay, so that's cleaning up your project. You can build your crate now, based upon this one crate. But, for me archiving this stuff, I like to just keep it separated. That way I can quickly import it in as needed. Let's say I wanted to import one that's already pre-made. I can go like this and make one that's pre-made too. So this one's going to be a little, what you're going to have to do is make a smaller variation right here. But you can see by lowering that, nothing happened. Like really, it stayed true. You made it smaller, texture stayed. You can scale stuff pretty good as far as uniform scaling. But if you go to stretch it, the texture will stretch too. Four on the keyboard to get into wireframe. Sometimes wireframe's a little easier. Use your numerical value system here. Okay, never do that. See where it's back. This is going to be back face culled. So don't do that. So stacking objects on top of objects, not a good idea. Okay, I'd rather have a smaller variation there and have it stretched. Now you can manipulate the vertices too. So go like this and go to 4 on the keyboard. I would say that it's probably not a good idea, and try to not do it. But if you can't get something super close, you can manipulate the vertices. But what happens there is you break uniformity, so you can only do it a little bit. I'm not going to do it, but you can do it just a little skosh here and there. I'd rather scale. And just have a little overlap, not much. Alright, so there we go. Okay, check for Z up. Z up is right here. And let's go back to the world selection. That way I can definitely see Z up. And let's turn on our grid too. Oh, grid is on. Jump into my perspective view. 4 on the keyboard to see the grid. And I'm going to reset this grid because I have it set to a different program standards of grid. So here's a variation that is put together. And you can see if I look at the UVs, since this is a CG environment thing, I can use this for game design too, but I would put the crate in together in game if that was the case, because they have or something in the game called light mask allows the ambient occlusion to be burned real time. But in here with CG work, we don't have that to worry about. So the UVs can be all stacked on top of each other, and when I combine it, there's my UVs. Sure, there might be sides here, but really there's my object. So I'll save this out for the client too. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the cleanup of the scene and how to put it together and then how to archive it. So let's move on.